Welcome back to my creative corner. My name is Nicole, and following up from last week's video where I shared about my how I started to collage and also who were the biggest influences, and then I mentioned perhaps I would do something like a sketchbook tour, except that I don't do collages inside my sketchbook. So it's a tour of my collage artworks from, let me see, I started my very first collage in January 2024 with this little bee, and then followed by this cat, and then this Queen of Hearts. So when I first started, I did them in this A6 size, and I used crayons, or was it oil pastel? I think oil pastel, and I colored it on some sketchbook paper. Then I cut them out and put them together. And for the background, I actually stuck tissue paper on top to create this really cool, looking backgrounds. Okay, so when I first started, and all these three are actually what's called draw this in your style, and I mentioned about it last video, whereby on Instagram, I'm not sure about other platforms, but on Instagram the artists will create an illustration and will invite others to recreate them in their own style. So very often it is the original artwork is actually in a digital art form, and then I create it in my style in collage. Okay, then I would say the next one was this little kitten, and I named this kitten Mot, and I framed it because I really like it. It's so cute. I like the little bee and how the flower, they're both angry. So obviously the original artwork from the artist who posted this draw this in your style was not exactly like that. Like, I think it had a bee and a flower, but the expressions were probably a bit different. Let me see. This was the next one. So as you can see, I've progressed from A5 size to, sorry, A6 to A5. So this was the next one where I actually did a full background. Not very happy with it, but it's the first time that I, collage with the full background instead of just the character. And this was the next one. So when I scan it, actually this still it shows up, so that's why I still don't want to cut it. And then we have this little doggy, chef doggy, and then this cute little sausage dog. This frog in a flower pot. And commented that I collage differently, which is true. I think what I normally do is I just, like, for this frog, it's just one piece for the frog, and then the arms are separately two pieces, and then the flowering can, the watering can, this is one piece, and then this and this is another piece. Then after that I did add some details with color pencils. So I'm not sure, but I think I do see collages done by other people whereby how do I say, I think I have an example here that I did. Sorry for this wire. So I think usually they are many different pieces that comes together to form the character, like, because you know, different shades. Yeah, so I don't know if that's what the person meant, that I collage differently. Okay, let's put this back in order. Okay, then there's this little girl. Because of the direction of the background, the brushstroke that created this, you know, this texture. That's right. I remember someone commented it looks like she's sliding down instead of lying on the grass, which is true. So I guess I shouldn't have used this background, but anyway, she's cute. And oh yeah, so for this, her hair, I used a pair of craft scissors that could create this pattern. Okay, so then this is the next one. Okay, after this, I'm not sure, they may not be in order, in exact order, but they were roughly all done in 2024 itself. Okay, so for this one, I used some alphabet stamps, and I stamped it on a piece of paper, and then I tore it up, you know, to create the foreground. And for the balloon, it's actually stitched, as well as the ends of the scarf. So with this collage and stitching the basket as well, I learned it from Lucy Duclos, from her class Collage and Stitch on Skillshare. If not for her, I guess I wouldn't have thought of combining stitching into collage. But I'm not a great stitcher, so these are just basic stitches, so yeah, I still can manage. But yeah, I'm learning different forms of stitches so that perhaps I can incorporate them more into my collage next time. Okay, this one is Halloween themed. Yeah, so I really enjoy creating all this what's it called, stars and bubbles. And I would say that I mentioned about Laura Horn in my previous video, how she inspired me, even though she's not a collage artist, but she is a abstract artist. But it's through her lessons that I learned about, you know, placing the elements and balancing the colors as well. So I thought I also like to show this part whereby it's actually one piece here, and then I layer another piece on top, whereby I've already cut out the stars. So it is quite cool. I think I stumbled upon this by chance, like when I was fiddling with all my pieces. Oh, what's this? Oops. Okay, I'm not sure where this little leaf came from. Okay, so this one is also another draw this in your style. So I put a purple crepe paper for the background, and then layered a yellow one on top, or was it gold, I think. Yeah, so this was really fun. Oh, so as you can see, I have moved from A6 to A5 to A4 but I've not gone beyond A4 so far. Okay, and I think this was by the same artist. So here again, I incorporated some stitching. This one, it was quite difficult to do this little cat that she's carrying, but I think it worked. And this was not a draw this in your style. No, I think this is where this came from, but I'm not sure. Okay, so this is not a draw this in your style, but it's just something that I thought of doing, like this girl hiding amongst all the autumn leaves. And I still really like this one. I love the colors, and it was actually up on my wall for probably more than a year before I decided, okay, maybe I need to, you know, change to something different. Okay, so then the next two, it's a combination of it's a draw this in your style as well. So in the center, it's something that I collage, but in this frame, it's actually a class that I did on Skillshare. I forgot the name of the teacher really, but she taught in French, and I learned a bit of French, so you know, basically I could understand what her instructions were. So it's carving and then creating your own stem, rubber stamps. So I carved the shapes of the leaves and then cut a round piece, and this was a rectangular piece, and then you cover it in the middle and then you stamp it around to create this very beautiful frame. And initially I didn't know what I would do with it. She had suggested to, like, you can draw something inside, or you can do calligraphy, some writing, make it into a card or something like that. So somehow when I was, you know, going through the draw this in your style that I want to collage, and I thought, you know what, I could try this, and it worked. So but I've only done 2 so far. So this frog was added, like it wasn't in the original. Yeah, but I felt it was a bit bare on her shoulders, like I could add something on her shoulder, so I add this little frog. Yeah, and I really like the flow, like it shows how she's really swinging. And then there's this one. The name of the artist who posted this draw this in your style is Zatif. I really like her artwork, and yeah, so I wasn't sure if I could carry it off because there were lots of florals on her piece. I actually took some time for this one, if not mistaken. Yeah. And then, okay, so these two are for an art challenge. So they are not draw this in your style, so the idea came from myself, but the prompts were bee and music, and this one I think was snail and mail, or was it snail and postbox? So yeah, so I finally came up with my own ideas. Okay, so in retrospect for this bee, I actually collaged the bee in first, and you know, actually this bee should be a bit smaller because, you know, that's the perspective thing, but it's fine. And with snail mail, I actually have a story about snail mail, because when I was studying in Australia, I lived in a house where the mailbox was actually a hole in the brick wall, and then after it had rained, I opened the mailbox to collect the mail, and lo and behold, there were so many snails inside that I kind of freaked out. And then I told my housemate and I asked her to get the mail instead. Okay, so this is a draw this in your style, but I didn't know how to do the background. I did all the foreground elements and then I scanned it and I did the background digitally. Okay, so coming to the end of 2020, this one in the center was it's a draw this in your style as well, but then on the left, it's I think it's for an art challenge. It probably has some prompt about presents, trees. I'm not sure cat and mouse whether it was there or not, but I decided to, you know, just put them together. And then the snowman was just probably something that I wanted to do. Okay, so here again I incorporated some stitching, and also here, yeah. Oh, and also on the reindeer. Okay, then this is coming to 2025 Chinese New Year. So this is a draw this in your style. I still don't like the background, but it's alright. Sometimes just need to try new things. And this one is just a very simple one. It's a art challenge. I believe the prompt was Chang'e. It's like a character from Chinese fable. Okay, oh, I think I jumped ahead to 2025. So before that, in December of 2024, I also worked on these, which is called which is an art challenge called the Imagine book cover. I just wanted to try it out in collage, and I actually wasn't sure how many I could complete, but I'm glad that I think I finished all of them, of all 6 or all 7. Okay, so this was the first one, the King's New Crocodile, and this one is called Lester Bocchini Goes Fishing. So you get the title, and then you imagine your own illustration. So yeah, these are a challenge, an art challenge, but it's not the draw this in your style. So the idea came from myself. I had a lot of fun adding the text to my collage. So this one I used craft scissors to cut the edges, and this one you know, I actually slipped part of the text into the folds of the water, and they call me Wild Cactus, so I thought it would be fun to do the cactus holding a little pistol gun, and since, you know, it's a cactus reminds me of spikes, that's why I did the lettering in this way. And this is called the lute player, and in fact when I first saw the I read the title incorrectly. I thought it was the flute player, so I actually sketched out a different character, but then when I realized I got it wrong, then I changed the character to this. It was a bit challenging to do these lines, but then, you know, you don't really have to be very exact and count how many strings there are actually on a lute. I still don't know. I do play the guitar, and I know the guitar has 6 and a ukulele has 4, but I have no idea how many there are on a lute. Yeah. I showed my sister all these collage pieces, and she was saying that this guy, as a lute player, it has an unfair advantage because it has so many tentacles. Yep. Then this is Mr. Phil Potts mushrooms. Actually, I wanted to make it like they are a choir, sort of a choir, but then I don't know, the idea kind of evolved and I decided to make a snail. So the snail is Mr. Phil Pot. Okay, so this is one of my favorite, Gumball and Duncan Butternut. I imagine it to be this pair of pigs who are brothers, and I'm thinking now that I could probably turn the pigs into a card or a bookmark or both. And then following this in January, 2025, there was an art challenge called the Winter Monster Challenge. You probably think that it looks familiar. It is after Monster Inc. Mike Kowalski, was that his name? Yeah, the one eye monster. So the first one is the monster adventure. So starting on the adventure, and this is his language. I have no idea, I just created some random characters. And then this is the monster wardrobe, which it's quite fun to create these hangers. And then the socks. Okay, and then this one, the prompt was monster home. So here he's like inside a cave, that's his home. His coffee mug, and this is supposed to be toast, but I think it looks more like cheese, I'm not sure. Then this is, of course, he's an artist as well. This is bookshelf, and like kind of like this particular paper is supposed to create something like, what do you call it, glass pane, something like that. And this one is Serene Night. I think a friend said, oh, so the monster turned black. Said, well, not really, it's because the, you know, the light is here and this is the shadow part. So it's not that the monster turned black, it's just that, you know, it's kind of black if you're looking from this view. I hope that makes sense. Then, okay, so I'm not sure if I did this in December or in January, but this little panda is my very first Draw This in Your Style. I kind of did it randomly, like I was just playing around with a sakura flower piece, but then it was so empty here, I decided to add this little panda. Then after that, I decided, you know, maybe I could make this into a Draw This in Your Style. So it was my first and only so far. Maybe I should do one soon. From this particular piece, I thought I could do a panda series. The panda may not look exactly the same, but more or less. Okay, so this next one is a panda eating bamboo, so of course that's what they eat the most. And then this one is like, because it was Chinese New Year or the Lunar New Year, so panda with the mandarin oranges. It was really fun to create the oranges. Yeah, and I think my sister said she liked this because they are different textures and colors to the oranges. So I'm glad she said that, because then I have achieved what I wanted to achieve. So I did use a reference photo, or in fact maybe I used several reference photos to try and see how the tangerine orange branch should look like. And then in Chinese art, there's a lot of like dragonfly elements, and this is meant to be an orchid, but I don't really know if it really looks like an orchid, so I try to incorporate that into this piece. And the next one, so as you can see, my panda doesn't really look very much the same. So, but yeah, anyways, it's still that panda whose name is Xin Xin. Okay, and then this is this flower, I think is it a begonia? The flowers are not in perspective, the flowers are small and the panda is huge, right? But I kind of like thought, it's okay. I am not creating a realistic piece, so it's an imaginary piece, so the flowers can be big and the panda can be small. Like, you know, Alice in the Wonderland, she made herself small by drinking Shrink Me potion. Okay, so this one for Valentine's Day, these hearts I created with red packet or ang pao packet. They actually make very good textures for art. Okay, so Xing Xing is giving you a love letter. And then finally, this was the last of my panda series. She's just hugging a tree and going to sleep, so kind of like bidding goodbye or good night to everyone, and she's taking a break. I didn't work on collage until, let's see, until this year when I started the YouTube channel. I actually did this panda. This was on my very first video, and then this is my second video. This idea came from an art challenge. I actually drew it digitally, but I converted one of it into a collage. And then finally I joined our Planet Week in April 26. So this was for the first prompt, forest growing. This was the second prompt, rivers flowing, and then this one was oceans glowing. Again, the eyes I added digitally, so maybe I should add them in here as well. I thought it would be too hard to add the eyes for the smaller whales. With adding them digitally, I can keep shifting or moving the position until I'm very happy with it. And I just want to mention, for this one I used some cloth, scraps of cloth too, for the water as well, which adds some texture onto it. And then this was the fourth one, but I didn't do the final one. I think this was wind blowing. So while creating or cutting out the birds, I actually had cut out some extra, so I did an extra piece. Oh, I have two more here, which is framed on my wall. Okay, so these two are my absolute favorite for my panda series. This one took me a very long time, more than a day's work, I suppose. So this one is like, typically in Chinese art there is mountain, is water, and so that's where I got the idea from. And then it looked like it's too empty up here, and the sky and the water color looks too much the same, so I added the trees with all these leaves. So these leaves took me like a few hours just to cut them and to stick them, you know, to satisfaction, to my own satisfaction. And I really like this pattern, which was, I think I used a gel plate, and then I might have used something like a comb to lightly drag through the gel plate, and then it created this print. So if it's not a gel plate, then maybe I just lay the paint onto the paper directly. So, but anyways, yeah, the texture is created with a comb, an old comb that I don't use anymore. And finally, this one, it's just like lotus is quite common in Chinese art, so that's what I incorporated, the lotus flowers, the pot, the leaves, and yeah, little Sing Sing is just playing by the pond. That's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed the tour, and I hope to see you again in my next video. So if you like this video, and I would really appreciate if you could give me a like and follow, and that would really be a big encouragement for me. And thank you so much for staying right until the end. Take care and goodbye.